Alright guys, welcome back. So today we'll be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Juggernaut. And everybody is just receiving theirs. So I'm throwing my hat into the ring and doing a review of my own as well. Without further ado, let's get him off this turntable before it explodes under the weight. And take a look at this chunky boy. So silly me forgot to film a package segment before opening him. So we'll have to do it without him inside. You can see Marvel Gamerverse on top there. Marvel's Juggernaut. You can see that nice sprite animation as well as the figure himself. You can see him on the back there, just put a whooping on Silver Samurai. And a different photo on this side with the same sprite image. Yeah, let's take a look at the figure. So taking a close look at Juggernaut, we'll start with the head. Such a big figure, so I'll try my best to get all the details. You can see that nice face sculpt underneath there. Does look good. 10 times better than the Builder figure. Really didn't like that head sculpt very much. But his own does look really cool. You can see the rivets going all the way around. Does have that seam line on top of the helmet, but I guess there ain't much you could do about that. Interestingly, we actually have some shading going on inside the musculature. So that is pretty cool. Or at least on the middle of the chest there. I'm not seeing it anywhere else. But it's nice that they tried to add it. Oh, it's down here on the legs as well. So that is pretty cool. Taking a look at the arms, you can see all those veins and stuff. These bands here are kind of rubbery and floating pieces, as well as the bracer on the arm there. And the fist does look really nice. Interestingly, I did notice that they actually painted the nails, like how our nails would have that little white part on top there. So that is kind of cool. The hands are sculpted really nicely. Taking a look at the back, not seeing any shading around there, but I do like the satin finish that they gave him. It isn't fully matte, but it also isn't fully gloss either, just somewhere in between there. I think it works out well. You can see the nice texturing going on inside there. Very interesting. They sculpted the abs a little bit strangely there. Don't know if it was intended to be asymmetrical, but that's the effect they got there. And that texturing pattern does run all the way around. You can see the jogger buns there. All the nice sculpting of the wrinkles on the costume and stuff like that. Very nice. And then getting right down to the boots. Here's a very plain design, but I really do love the design on the Juggernaut, as well as the character himself. And the boots do have treads at the bottom there. Better for stomping. One strange thing about the figure is the fact that the whatever torso articulation they gave him, it does wobble around like this. It's almost like a bobblehead in a sense. So you could touch him and he'll just keep bouncing like that. So I'm not sure what sort of uh, ball joint is inside that torso, but it's very springy. But yeah, the figure does look really nice. I can't complain much about this one. And they even attempted to put some shade in there, so that is commendable, I suppose. And very excited to get this one, and also very excited to check out what he could do in terms of articulation, which we're going to be checking out right now. So for articulation, Juggernaut's head is just on one of those hinged ball joints that they typically do. So he could only lean his head down a very small amount and about that much up. He could, of course, swivel the head from left to right. His shoulders go up about this far. It does rotate all the way around. The butterfly joints on him could go forward about that far and back about that far. So if you're bringing the hands in front, it'll look something like that. Or if you're trying to bring them to the back, it'll look something like that. He does have what appears to be a bicep swivel, but it's really just the elbow joint connecting to the shoulder, and this is just a floating piece in the middle. So if you actually rotate this, this wouldn't rotate with the elbow. So the real rotation comes from the actual elbow itself. And then of course his elbow does bend less than 90 degrees, which is unfortunate. The wrists do swivel and hinge. These hands do tend to pop out quite easily though. The torso does have a ball joint, so he can crunch forward about that far. And he can arch back quite a bit. This joint also allows him to tilt from side to side. You can also twist him at the torso, but if you don't catch a detent, it's going to turn all the way around. So you have to keep turning it till you feel it kind of snap into place. It's very similar to how the Maximum Spider-Man was. His legs kick forward about that high, kicks back about that far. He can do a decent split for Juggernaut. The thigh does have a swivel. Perhaps the most disappointing part of the Juggernaut's articulation for me is this is the best knee bend you're gonna get, which is really bad in my opinion. For some reason they decided to not do a boot swivel, but they did a knee swivel. So there's that. His ankles could kick forward about that far, kick back about that far. Does have a rocker, and it does have a toe joint. So while I could live with the slightly less than 90-degree bends on the elbow, I think on the knees it's just inexcusable. I think there's so many things I could have done, like hollowed out some of the plastic on the back here, and that would allow you to get like a much deeper bend, especially for like all those running poses and stuff. Because being able to bend this much just makes him look like he's having a brisk walk or something. Obviously, you could kind of make it work to your advantage with perspective and things like that, right? But, you know, it'll be nice if he had it right off the bat, and it'll certainly make photography quite a lot easier. So for accessories, Juggernaut does come with his 2 fists defaulting package. He does come with 1 open gesture hand, and he does come with a slightly grasping hand, so maybe he could grab some figures and stuff with that. And yes, he can definitely do that. So he does come with this nice translucent effect to simulate like the force of a punch or a charge. And it does look really good. It's painted, you can see, goes from yellow into the orange. And how this works is you see 2 sort of rounded points on the inside there. You take any of the fists, and this brown band could actually unpeg from the hands there, pegged in on both sides like this. And once you have that off, you're just gonna put the fist in the holes there, and that is pretty much how it works. And you can get a little bit of angle in there. So it's a very simple but effective effect piece. I think it works really well. What would have been nice is if they had engineered some way to clip it onto the helmet like they showed in the promo photos and stuff. But as it stands, you just put it right there and sticky tack it on or press him up against something. It has no way that I could find to clip it onto the helmet itself. So for height, Juggernaut actually stands slightly less than 9¼ inches tall. Here he is next to McFarlane Nightfall Batman, a Jada Toys Mega Man, Storm Arena Ryu, Maximum Series Spider-Man, Gamerverse Wolverine, Gamerverse Venom, and Gamerverse Captain America. And just to give you one more size comparison to give you an idea of the scale, this is actually a bootleg Juggernaut from AliExpress, but it's using the 20th anniversary Hulk body, so you can get an idea just how big this new one is. Kind of makes him look like his little teenage son. In closing, I can't lie, I really like this Juggernaut. I mean, he ain't perfect, of course. I think the articulation on the elbows and knees could have been a little bit better. There's too much technology these days that would allow for those things to be improved. So there's no reason to have like less than 90-degree bends on elbows and things like that and knees. I think you would have been better served also doing boot cuts instead of that rotation of the knee. And yeah, beyond that, I don't really have much more complaints with him. Really like the figure, had a lot of fun doing the photos and stuff. Definitely happy to add this one to the collection, even if you weren't really into Marvel vs. Capcom or any of those kind of games. He still is a very nice Juggernaut figure to add to your Marvel Legends. So nonetheless, hope you all enjoyed this review. Hope this helps anybody who is on the fence about getting this figure. And until next time, y'all take care.